Hi, I'm Jessica. I run the blog TastyMeditation, and I have celiac disease, Graves disease, and the eye condition associated with Graves disease. So if you are watching this video, then you probably have a similar or the same eye condition. And all my personal opinion, just my own, it sucks. It is awful, it is terrible, it is emotional and vulnerable. There is nothing good about it, and it is hurtful. There's so many terrible symptoms that we have to deal with on a moment-to-moment basis every single day, and it is incredibly vulnerable and emotional when you don't recognize yourself in pictures, when you don't recognize yourself in the mirror, when you have to ask your friends to please take down the photos that they posted of you online because you feel like you look crazy. And so many people don't understand it. It's really difficult for other people to understand and be able to put themselves in our shoes. So if you're having a hard time, I understand. I see you and I get it. So some of my symptoms, I have quite often very red eyes, which makes me feel very self-conscious. My eyes can be very dry and watery, especially in the morning. You know, everyone says, oh, allergies. Nope. And my very least favorite symptom is the forward eye movement. That has definitely been the most vulnerable and hardest part of this entire experience. So something that has helped me a lot is getting into makeup. And I've always respected makeup artists and have always admired like just how cool it is. It's an art. How you can use shading and colors and different techniques to change shapes and change focal points. And it's just a canvas and paint, right? It's amazing. So I have used it. My intention is to use makeup to make me feel a little bit more like myself, and it has been very, very helpful. So I am not a professional makeup artist. I am just someone who has this eye condition, and I have played around with it for the past year. I have watched tutorials, I have taken lessons, and I have kind of figured out what really works for me and different tricks to help when my eyes get really watery. So I've been talking with a bunch of other people with Graves disease online, and a bunch of people have asked for different resources on how to do makeup, what tricks they can try. So that's why I decided to create this video. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to chat, and let's do it. Here we go. All right, so here we are. Just a heads up, my mirror that I'm gonna be using for makeup is here. The camera is here. I can see myself here, so I'm gonna be trying to find the right angle all the time. So here's what I've done so far is I have washed my face, put on some moisturizer, put on a light layer of foundation. I have also put on a bit of bronzer and lipstick. Normally I would save that for the end, but I'm filming myself, so why not? I'm gonna do whatever I wanna do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to use a lid lock lid primer on my eyes, on my eyelids. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that here and here. And it can be fairly difficult to do all of this when your eyes are watery. So if you are like me, what I end up doing in the morning is I do a little bit of makeup then, and then I carry some makeup with me throughout the day, or I will, you know, my schedule's weird. I'll stop off at home and fix my makeup, or if I've been working out a lot, redo it, because my eyes are a lot less watery in the afternoon and the evening. So while I am letting that kind of set and cool down a bit, I personally, I have these little lines underneath my eyes that started to show up when I first started to realize that my eyes were changing from Graves disease. So when you have darkness underneath your eyes, you want to brighten it up a bit. So I have an under eye brightening corrector. And I am going to take a little bit of that and I'm going to put it directly onto that line. Then I will take a concealer. I have a very, very, very light shade because I am extremely pale. So I'm gonna put a little bit of that here above that line. I don't wanna mix those two colors together, and go a little bit below. For me, this part of my eye, this corner here, is where my makeup tends to smudge or just disappear completely because my eyes get watery. So I'm just gonna make sure I put a fair bit of concealer there as well. That's definitely an area that I will have to touch up again midday. So I'm gonna let all of this calm down for a bit and I'm gonna come back to my lids. I'm gonna take a very light color, super neutral skin tone kind of color. This is the color that I use. It's actually, I believe, a setting powder, but it works really well for just covering the entire lid. Now, most of the time when I have an eyeshadow, I will do a little tap like this when I have a very loose powder, but this powder doesn't, it's not very loose at all. So I really don't need to tap it. Also, a lot of people will probably recommend smaller brushes, but I don't know, there's a lot of lid to cover and I want to do this part quickly because there's lots to do, especially, you know, I like doing my makeup, but I don't want to spend an hour doing it in the morning. So I look for sometimes what can go fairly quickly. All right. Next, I am going to take a slightly darker color, little bit of brown. This one is actually a bronzer, but the makeup artist who did my makeup for my wedding recommended it, and I love it. So I'm gonna take a little bit on this kind of brush, tap it, and I'm gonna go right into, let's see, I hope you can see. I'm going right into the crease. I'm starting on the inside of my eye, and I'm moving towards maybe about 2/3 of the way in, let's say. And then I'm going to take the brush and go up and down to create a faint line. What we are trying to do with not just this smoky eye technique, but we, instead of trying to open up the eyes, we are trying to close them a bit. So we are boxing the eye in a way. And I'm going to do that on the other side, and I will be coming back to this color shortly. And I apologize for all of the funny faces that I will be making throughout this video. So next, I'm going to take the darkest color that I have. I really like this smoky eyeshadow palette. It has a lot of nice stuff going on. It's very basic. This is normally the one that I travel with. Whenever I travel during the day, I normally have this with me. I have this palette, I have this brush, specifically to focus on touching up this outer corner area. Also, my liquid eyeliner always comes with me as well. So if your eyes are watery, you might find that helpful. So now I'm going to go fairly close to my eyelashes. And you want to be very careful not to irritate the eyes and poke yourself in the eye, because the more that you irritate the eyes, the more they're going to water and probably ruin the makeup that you have already done. And then you're gonna have to stop and take more breaks. I can't remember if I've already said this, but please take as many breaks as you need to. Have a cup of coffee, relax, let your eyes calm down. And this line, how thick this is or how, defined it isn't super specific. We are just trying to make sure that we get near the eyelashes. So I'm going to start dark and get progressively lighter, but I'm going to focus on pretty much the entire lid being very dark. Now, when it comes to picking out the next set of colors, I like having a wide range of things to choose from, and I'm gonna pick this one right here. Now, this one, it's not a glitter eyeshadow. It just has a little bit of maybe dynamic movement to it. You generally want to avoid glitter eyeshadow because it will make the eyes kind of pop and it will draw attention to that area, instead of moving things back and making it darker. So try to pick generally matte colors, but I do like to add just, you know, a little bit of, I don't know, flavor, dynamic movement to it, so it doesn't look too muddy. So it's always trying to play with that balance. So I'm taking this color here, and you want to tap it out quite a bit because you don't want all of this color to end up underneath your eye. And I'm going to go onto my eyelid, getting to the center and to the outer corner, and I'm probably gonna fill up the majority of my eyelid with this and slowly reach up towards the crease. I'm not quite into the crease yet. And I'll do that on the other side. So, interesting story, I laugh about it now, it was really stressful at the time, was I was planning on doing my own makeup for my wedding, and one of my friends came over and she taught me some basic bridal techniques, and all of those are meant to open up your eyes and make your eyes look bigger. So I was practicing and realized that something was very strange. I took off all my makeup, did it all again, took it off again, did the makeup again, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And that's when I started taking pictures and realizing that my eyes were changing and moving forward a bit. So definitely very frustrating, but I'm glad that I learned this smoky technique. And I had a makeup artist for my wedding because I said, enough is enough, I'm gonna hire someone to help with this. But the smoky technique we did for my wedding, and it was really, really wonderful, and I felt like myself. All right, so I've done that color. I'm actually gonna go back to this smaller palette because I really like these two colors here together. And I like creating a depth of color here. It's about the layers. It's about creating depth. Don't be afraid to have lots of little layers. I'm putting this directly on top, and I like to go really smoky with my lids. And remember, I'm not a professional makeup artist. I've taken lessons, and I have, you know, found what mostly works for me, so I try. So I'm gonna come back to this palette. Let's see, I'm gonna take this kind of medium color here, tap it out, and now I'm gonna start to make my way into the crease a bit more. Going into that crease. I'm sorry for about little bits of noise that you might be hearing. There's some construction in my building. I'm going with this lighter color next. My cat's also with me. This is my, I think, second take doing this video. She was really confused as to who I was talking to, so we'll see if she makes another appearance in this video. All right, so now I am going to take another brush. Let's see, where did that brush go? So I'm going to take my lightest color here, tap this out a bit. And if I were doing a technique to help open up my eye and make it brighter, I would probably take this lighter color down a little bit further, but I'm just going to take it really close up to my eyebrow. And now I am going back with this nice brown that we were using before, and I'm going to blend it all together in that crease. So it's about the blending, it's about depth of color. And I'm gonna maybe take it back to that line there. You don't want it to be too drastic, but that really helps if you have some puffiness here. I have puffiness there, and that helps to kind of pull that back a bit. All right, so looking pretty good. My eyes aren't watering right now, which is great. I'm going to come back to my under eye area and I am going to start to blend this in. And same thing with the other side. And I don't want those colors to blend to, I don't want to, blur them together. So I'm going to use another finger and kind of blend that into my foundation. Now, if your eyes do start to water, I recommend having tissues nearby. Also, let's say I'm getting like a single tear right here. Sometimes I'll use a Q-tip to just kind of catch the tear before it does too much damage to my makeup. So that's helpful. All right, so continuing to brighten up underneath the eye. I have, it is called a brightening powder for under the eyes. Look at that. I'm gonna take a sturdy brush, and I don't have to tap this one really because I do want a fair amount of product under my eye. So I'm gonna press it in. And other side. Now, as we start to move to the under eye area, that's the part for me where my eyes get a little bit sensitive, so might be taking some breaks. All right. So in order to continue to kind of close things off, we want the under eye area to also be pretty dark. I'm coming back to this beautiful color again. We use it so much. Tap it. And oof, this might get harder to do. I'm like 2 feet away from my mirror right now. And I'm gonna go all the way to the inside. Same thing on the other side. Sometimes you just need to blink a bit more side to side. Okay. Next, blink a bit. I'm gonna come back to this nice big palette, and I really like this matte color. So we're gonna take this dark brown matte, tap it, and I'm gonna start in, can you see it? Start in the corner of my eyes here, kind of blend this little corner bit together and start to carry it inwards. Now you want a lot of layers, but you don't want a lot of product on your brush at one time, so keep tapping. And I'm gonna go about, no, this one I'm actually gonna go all the way in. Now, one of my secrets here, especially for under eye stuff, is that if your eyes start to water and your brush starts to get wet, but you feel like you can keep going, take the brush and just kind of dry it off on your palm. And you can see it's already, makeup's coming off a bit because the brush was a little bit wet, but you don't want to continue with wet brushes because the makeup will look uneven. So just kind of brush it off and then continue with the second side. So the lighting is a little bit different just on this side of the room. So hopefully it looks even. Wiping it off a bit. Going to the center. All right, I think that's even. So now we are going to come back to this darkest color that we used that was directly, really close to the eyelashes. And we're gonna use that color again. Now we are going to take it to the outer edge and we are going to pull it to about 3/4 of the way in. Same thing on the other side, and you can already see them watering just a little bit right here. So I'm gonna end up taking a break shortly. Did I do that all the way 3/4 of the way in? See, I've already forgotten. All right, I'm going to come back to that color that I had just used, the matte dark brown. And I'm just gonna blend that point where they meet together just a little. Right. All right, so I can already tell that my eyes need just a little bit of a break to calm down. So I'm always looking at how fast can I do my makeup in the mornings, right? So I'm going to switch and do some blush. And I'm going to take it to my cheeks and pull it up. And already I am feeling just a little bit more like me, and that's the whole point, right? I will also do some loose powder to set everything. Oh, that was a bunch of powder. Bring it down. Don't forget about your neck, especially when you're doing foundation, because otherwise your foundation will end here and then you might look kind of like a clown. Here we go. All right, so we are moving forward. My eyes still need an extra moment, so I'm going to use a little bit of highlighter here. I have this butter highlighter, which is nice. You just use a tiny bit on your finger. Tap it to the side, go up. Tap it to the side, go up. Now, I already put on brow mascara. My eyebrows go kind of crazy. It's a nice thing to do if you have crazy eyebrows like mine, but I did it before we started. It would be better to do it now. So you just apply that a little bit there and here, just to help kind of darken them a bit and hold that shape. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the under eyes, and I'm going to do my eyeliner on the waterline on bottom. So I really like, because like what are you gonna do when you have all this makeup on already? I like taking one of the sponges and pulling down this way so I have easier access to that under waterline there, but that way I don't get smudges on my makeup. So this, I am definitely going to poke myself in the eye if I try to do this 2 feet away from my mirror. So give me 1 sec. I'm going to lean forward, do it, lean back, and that will be the safest way. So if you have any questions about any of this, please feel free to shoot me an email. I'm always happy to chat. All right, so we are almost done. I'm going to move towards my eyeliner. This might prove to be difficult as well. I like liquid eyeliner because I like there to be a bold line there. And I really like this liquid eyeliner pen. I think it's really easy to work with. I think I even used this on the subway once, and I did it. It was miraculous. So this is where it's going to be a little hard to talk. But I drag the liner across, trying to create a pretty thin line. Now you can do a technique where you get a little thicker towards the outside, just a tiny, tiny bit, and that helps to kind of adjust the shape of the eye. Let's see, I'll finish up this eye and then look in the mirror a little closer to see how we're doing. Oh, and you know what? This is a great moment. You see that tear? It's gonna ruin things. So, catch it. Same thing, other side, a little catch. And I'll go back, see what I got there. I will go back and touch that up since it's already taken just a little bit of the makeup off. So, first going to finish with the eyeliner. All right, excuse me again, it's time to lean into the mirror. All right, not too bad for not being able to see, really. So one of the things that gets me during the day is that when my eyes get watery, the outside gets messed up and also this inside corner. So I really like to carry around extra eyeliner so that I can fix up that inside corner. And worst case that I've done is not wear eyeliner early in the morning. The other thing that I've done is I put it on, but I don't quite go all the way in because I know it's gonna smudge a lot anyway. So I still have the eyeliner on and I'll just touch up that inside corner at lunchtime. All right, so I'm going to come back to this darker shade and just do a little touch up here. And I know it's really frustrating, but you know, we just got to do what we can. And I've definitely had days where my mascara, because my eyelashes are just really long, just an extra component of it, combined with the wateriness, it will make my eyelashes kind of rub against the top part of my eyes here, and then I'll end up with just mascara everywhere. So it's always a balancing act, figuring out how much you can put on when your eyes are watery. All right, and so you can see that we have worked with the shadowing and shading to create a bit of a box. It's a straight line from the inside of the eyebrow down to the inner corner of the eye, and it's a straight line from about here, it's where my eyebrow ends, eyebrows might be different, to the outside corner of the eye as well there. Okay. Almost done. Coming to our mascara, I have a primer which I really love because my eyelashes are so long and it takes so much work and so much product to separate things. It's better to use a primer, and I do this nice wiggle technique, and that helps to separate the lashes and get more primer in between the lashes. Second side. I can tell this is getting towards the end of the tube. And again, I cannot see that side, so hopefully it's turning out okay. Blink a couple of times. And then the real mascara. Maybe I do a little bit of that wiggling technique too. Now I only put mascara, this is just me personally, on the top lashes because the bottom lashes, it kind of, in my opinion, opens the eyes up a bit more. So for me, I just do the top. Sorry, not much talking. This is concentrating, trying to not get mascara everywhere, because that's one of the tricky parts when this area becomes just a little bit puffy because the eyes have moved forward. It's just tricky because it's closer to the lashes. Or at least on my face, that's how it seems to have been. Everything, remember, is just very individual. So if some of these techniques work for you, great. If some of them don't, that's okay. I feel a little bit of wateriness in that corner again. I might use a tissue. It's not too bad. All right, I'm just going to lean into the mirror really quick to double check. All right. Pretty good. I think. Feeling a bit more like myself. And that's the whole point, right? So thanks for joining me on this. If you have any questions, let me know, and happy makeup practice. Bye.